Hey, welcome to Hear Us Out. I'm Paul,
And I'm Patrick.
and welcome to another rapid review. And this week, what are we doing, Patrick?
Paul, we're doing a movie that has been mentioned on our channel so many times because you happen to love the damn thing. And this is our Spooktober kickoff. Uh,
October.
Paul's a horror guy, everybody. So we're going to do Event Horizon. It is maybe the most name dropped, or one of the most name dropped movies on this channel. So it's about time we talk about why, and why, if you haven't seen this classic from 1997, why you should get around to seeing it now.
Oh man, can't wait. This Patrick was just like, we should do, or I was like, we should do a scary rapid review for the start of October or Spooktober. And Patrick was like, we should just do Event Horizon, and I was like, we should.
Yeah. We've been doing this together for a few years now. I've never gotten sick of you doing Spooktober. So I'm not a horror guy, but I look forward to October because I know I'm going to get that from you. Also, by the way, we made a deal. April is now car month, so expect April to be wall to wall car stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, Spooktober.
Which goes so in our rapid reviews, these are short reviews of a movie specifically designed to try push you over the edge of if you were kind of going, maybe I won't watch it, maybe I will, kind of thing. We're here to kind of go, why not?
Yeah.
So we've chosen a selection of movies that we're going to do our rapid review. Which is so the synopsis of Event Horizon. It is a horror film. It is essentially that in the age of a kind of a like starting emerging humanity into space. The Event Horizon, which is a deep research vessel, goes out towards Neptune and sequentially disappears. It is the greatest disaster in space travel to date, which is 7 years later, which is it reemerges around the orbit of Neptune, and a distress call is sent out. This is picked up by humanity, and the Lewis and Clark and the crew are sent out to investigate. And it seems like there might not be as many things, like there might be some secrets in the Event Horizon and its secret mission, which give you more about. But we'll probably give you more about when we're talking about it in the kind of conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's a classic. It's a horror sci-fi. Ship goes missing. Mystery starts. Someone goes to check in on it. Mystery continues. Scientist Sam Neill is with recovery people, and it has that wonderful trope of crew isn't happy about being sent out here into the middle of nowhere. Uh, Scientist Sam Neill has to try and get along with them. There's obvious friction, and they use it in such a classic way to introduce everybody and describe who everybody is. These are 90-minute movies. They don't make 90-minute movies like this anymore because they've forgotten the great art of don't make all your storytelling so perfect that you can't set the table really quickly. Within 10 minutes, this movie has its table set and the full entree is on your table. You're tucking into your food straight away.
yeah, like I really enjoy the old school kind of. It starts with essentially the synapse that I just gave you there. It starts off that with that text kind of introduction to the world, which I am a big fan of classical. Just getting the information out there in very short bursts of text, which is great. But yes, you are quite literally introduced to the crew quite quickly. Which is let me just find the there it is. So the crew are quite like it's literally an eight-man cast practically as the main cast, which is great. Yeah, you're right. So everybody here except for Sam Neill, that's what's called Lawrence Fishburne, Catherine Quinn, Joey Richardson, Richard T. Jones, Jack Northworthy, and Jason Isaacs and Sean Petrie.
Who you love.
Pertwee?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pertwee.
Pertwee. They're the main crew of the Lewis and Clark. They're obviously being sent out to rescue the or find out what's going on with the Horizon. Sam Neill is Dr. Weir, who is somehow connected to the Event Horizon's original and secret mission. Yeah, you could definitely get that tension real off the bat of kind of this is a crew that's just like this is a real bullshit kind of mission, and you're not giving us anything. They're very suspicious of him straight off the bat.
Yeah. And they don't miss a chance in all that miniature conflict to always give you a little bit more about each character. It's like, oh, I don't like you. I'm the mechanic here. Why did he just say he's the mechanic here? It's because that's what you do when you're trying to get your movie set up and moving fast. It's like, I don't like you. I'm the doctor. It's like, is it important that he doesn't like him because he's the doctor? Oh no, now we know he's the doctor. Yay. I love that. This film still carries that charm of what is essentially horror sci-fi. It's haunted house in space, folks. That's what horror sci-fi quite often is: haunted house in space. And this is one of those classic examples of gives you the unsettling feeling the second they're done with setting things up, because there's nothing spooky in the first part of the movie. They bring you in and then go, oh yeah, by the way, now that you know all that, get ready to feel really awkward about every scene from here on out.
Yeah, they do that. I do like with films like this, with kind of ship based kind of sci-fi films, that they do that kind of like round the table introduction, which is literally just like, this is our easy mechanic of just having all of us introduce our characters, which is just real quick and real nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is, the Event Horizon is the quintessential like haunted house in space, or the like lost sailing ship at sea. Like, you know, that's it. Like, it was described originally before it was created as the shining of space. Which is a bit grandeur of what it did turn out to be.
Yeah.
But
comparing yourself to The Shining off the bats, that's a ballsy move.
But that was what it was originally kind of set as. Which is, but yeah, no, I love all the actors in this. They are absolutely fantastic. They both play a really really role with. They're really well set for their own characters. No one out.
Really. No, that's true. Actually, it is a triumph of casting, and it was back at a time when Sam Neill wasn't as famous as he is now, either. So Lawrence Fishburne would have been the bigger name.
Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne and Jolie Richardson just came off Emmys wins, I think. So yeah, they'd be.
And look, we're here to tell you why you should watch this, folks. And there's lots of reasons. There's lots of reasons. We don't have to tell people what the details of this movie are. We're not going to spoil this one. I think this is one where we're not necessarily going to tell them everything, right, Paul?
Yeah, we're going to keep. We'll show you glimpses and stuff like that. We will tell you forewarnings of this, that it is body horror kind of. There is a fair bit of gore in this film, but it is from the 90s kind of thing. So it is like it did age very well, I will say this, but it
really
does
did.
So it does have a bit of gore in it, just to give everybody a pre-warning. This is a horror kind of film.
But I also want to tell everybody I watched it last night in preparation to make sure that I hadn't forgotten anything. And I'd forgotten that it doesn't have as much actual on-screen visible body horror gore as I remembered, which actually just goes to show you how effective the movie is, that your brain held on to a few images and made them a lot longer. So it's usually wouldn't be my thing, folks. But I gotta say, there's so many good things. Actually, Paul, can I throw out one good thing? Have you had up a picture of the Event Horizon yet?
The actual ship,
or even the deck of it, or the deck of the Lewis and Clark set design. This movie is a triumph. It's one of the great. It's its strongest point. Story's good, cast is great, and all that good stuff. But the visual, just everything they made, even the CGI that looks ropey in a few spots on top of it, behind it still looks amazing. So you forgive some bad, weightless toothpaste floating past, because behind it feels real and dirty and metal and rivets, and silly captain's chairs hanging from ceilings, because that's just the way to make shit look cool. But yeah, Paul, like, number one thing for me, if I had to say why should you see this, because you're going to love the effort they put into set design.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Is like, up there is the Lewis and Clark's bridge, which is entire, like, it's an entirely practical set. The sets were built in 6 weeks.
No way. Wow, good job, those people.
Yeah, it was, and this film is entirely filmed in the UK. So, but yeah, the set designs and stuff like that are absolutely beautiful. Which is, you've got the infamous which is meat grinder, which is an actual working kind of corridor. It is meant to represent the 9 circles of hell, that Dante traveled through, but it is a rotating hallway, which is just horrifying kind of thing.
Yeah, and they do take great care in the movie to give it a reason for existing. It's like, oh, this is actually functional. It's shielding you from certain things, and because of how our stuff works, you have to have it be this horrific looking shape, and everything looks like it's going to hurt if you fall on it.
Oh yeah.
But they kind of rationalize it all away quite well in that 90-minute movie from the 90s sort of way.
Oh yeah, like it's the Event Horizon was designed to be like Notre Dame, like a church more than an actual ship. It has vaults and it's like a lot more kind of symbolism and stuff like that in it than it originally kind of than what would you think in a kind of sci-fi film, which is even like engineering decks that you see as you see Sam Neill crawling through a corridor. The side walls very much reminiscent of Star Trek, look more like scriptures
Yeah.
rather than actual like kind of computer trips and stuff like that. Um and then the biggest piece, the show piece of this film, the core. Like the core is the showpiece as described in the film, the heart of the ship. Um it is an absolute fantastic piece of set work and everything. Which it is also inspired by the puzzle blocks from Hellraiser.
And I believe this whole movie must have gone on and inspired Sphere. If anybody's seen that, the underwater horror movie Sphere, because they took so many things from this and used imagery and mechanisms. I think there's no way to describe that core without saying it's an awesome piece of heavy metal gothic sci-fi art. I love it, and it's central to the story, which means it's not just a cool bauble to have there.
Yeah, it's not just a show. It's not just a showpiece. It's a central piece of the whole story, which is which is um. I will say that so I'll keep up the core up there. The plot itself bangs along pretty nicely for a 90-minute film, which is, as we've stated, the introduction to all the characters are all fantastic. The slow builds and rise of the mystery of the original mission of Event Horizon is all really well done. No real kind of there's always a feel of foreboding a lot of the time, which gets which gets revealing of what the ship's original purpose is, and that also has an element of mystery to it, which is fantastic, and it adds more to the horror kind of like hauntedness of it. Um, which also then goes into some of the stories, some of the characters' backstories are also really important to this. Weir's turbulent past life is directly resulted of the ship, which is also the rest of the characters kind of little backstories. The supernatural thing plays on, which is really nice.
It's hard not to say too much. It's hard not
Mm.
to say too much. Well, we're at risk of making this rapid review not too rapid, but because it's Event Horizon, I think it gets some extra time. I'm pretty sure that you're not the world's foremost expert on Event Horizon, because that's probably Paul WS or Paul just Anderson. Because at the time he did this, he was just Paul Anderson. Now he's Paul W.S. Anderson of Resident Evil and other things fame. Um, but yeah, you're up there. So hit me with some Event Horizon facts.
So yeah, the sets were built in 6 weeks, which is really
Awesome.
built entirely in the UK, or it was entirely filmed in the UK. It took 10 months to film, create, film, and edit and all that. Just
Wow.
um, the the scene with the rotating the rotating space station took up the majority of the CGI budget, which is just
Wow.
a fantastic thing. Um, one of the interesting things is that there is was meant to be a director's cut of an extended edition, but a lot of the footage was lost. Um,
Hmm.
Anderson has said that he has recently heard that it is being found on a VHS tape. So
Excellent.
there might be an extended version coming out at some point. Who knows? Um, but originally this film got an NC-17 rating, which is like death to those films. So because it was just horror kind of thing, so they cut. And then probably one of the most interesting points is so two interesting points. One, Titanic was delayed because of production problems and stuff. So Event Horizon was released in its place. So when Event Horizon was released, it was meant to be the original release date of.
And they're both very tragic ship
Yeah,
stories.
yeah. It was like that
And
kind of
that's where
like
the similarities end.
yeah, that's it.
There ain't nobody on a door at the end of this one.
Yeah, like so yeah, it was one of those interesting kind of like was it that they were just like, oh, we need a ship thing for our summer like releases, and we can't have Titanic. It's been delayed. What other ship related movies do we have? Well, we have this horror movie.
It's a little space thing. It'll be fine. The kids will love it.
And then the final kind of I guess interesting thing was Paul Anderson wasn't very thrilled about the how the movie was received. But but at the time he was filming Soldier with Kurt Russell, and Kurt Russell said it doesn't matter what the film is making now. This is going to be a cult classic in the future. This movie has inspired games like Dead Space, which is a fair amount of other short stories and movies, and it is which is it is pride of how well the kind of thing that it went, you know.
Oh, well, when the Escape from LA guy tells you, or the Escape from New York guy, depending on which generation you are for your Kurt Russells, when he tells you about cult classics, you listen to The Big Trouble in Little China Man and say, hey, you're probably right, because it did. It turned out to be a massive cult classic. Paul, we are talking about it right now. So many of you out there will have heard of this, but never pulled the trigger on actually watching it. It's likely on a streaming service near you. I believe it's for rent in a lot of jurisdictions on video on demand platforms. Find a way to see this. It's a great Halloween movie. It's not as scary as you remember, but it's probably better and more luscious and more beautiful than you remember. Don't get me wrong, Paul, we haven't mentioned the bad things. There are a couple of really clunky points here and there, and that's okay. And they're not visual clunky points. It's a few story points, the odd plot hole, and the odd kind of interesting choice. But they add juice to that particular fruit there, because you get to have fun with what it was.
Yeah, exactly. Like this isn't this the rapid review isn't to kind of show you the best and golden movies around. It's just to review some of those movies that we enjoyed a lot, kind of thing, and just to push you over the edge to go. So there are plot holes, and it's like as a person who loves the film dearly, there are definitely plot holes and stuff like that, and Deus Ex Machina things that are definitely brought into this.
One or two ridiculous lines as well.
Yeah.
But Paul, this is not Event Horizon, not The Shining. It's more like Titanic on acid. Here you go. That's Event Horizon for you. A lot of acid.
It's a lot of acid. A lot of acid. It's haunted house, ghost ship kind of thing, vibe and sci-fi. So if you enjoy sci-fi and you enjoy horror, sci-fi, horror, ghost movies, you're gonna enjoy this. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
I watched this, I think twice before this rapid review. This movie. Which good. Which good. That's our rapid review of Event Horizon. Let us know what you think of Event Horizon down in the comments below. Do know that I will be defending it very, very hard. Which is as my kind of love for this film is undying. And let us know if there's any other rapid reviews that you would like to have us do of films. We have a playlist of all the other rapid reviews in our repertoire, so go back and give them some. So, anything else to add, Patrick?
No, with that, I just say like, subscribe, share, to the YouTube dance for us, and we'll see you in the next one. So, Paul, with that, who have you been?
I've been Paul.
And I've been Patrick.
We've been Hear Us Out.
Take care, people. Bye. Titanic on acid.